Hello. 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 We are live. Hi. Okay. So let's just jump right in, right? Because I don't want any like awkward waiting moments, unless it's called for. Because you know what? Sometimes silence is necessary. So I'm just going to keep going. Okay, right. On track. Today is June 29th. I'm doing this like 2 days before July because I had this idea of like, you know what? I'm going to start a series. And this series is going to be called Cosmically Narrated. And I'm going to make it like once a month. It's going to be like a video. It's going to be very much like this. It's going to have the energetics and astrology that I look ahead, right? And kind of teaching people how I use the tools that are, available to all of us. And I've noticed it's really helping a lot of my clients. And so I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll put this together in some sort of monthly thing that can be fun for all of us. And I don't know, just see what happens. So, welcome. This is the first one. And it's really exciting when you do something for the first time. So, I'm going to take a moment with that energy because for some reason we're scared of that energy of doing something for the first time. And sometimes that stops us from doing the thing for so long. And you just want to do the thing. So, let's be with this energy right now of doing something new, allowing what it is, discover what it is, stay curious and present with the fun and the positivity and the reality. Okay. We're being real. And allow the creative energy, like that building energy, like you got to start somewhere energy. Just going to be here with that beautiful energy because sometimes, you kind of don't know what you're doing and you just like do it. Gosh, natural talent. You know what I'm saying? Some of the best little kid actors is because they just would do it, or like people who like don't have much training and you're like, oh my God, that was good. Did you know that? That was good. Dang, that was good. So we gonna like bask in that energy as we're starting this new book, this new series that I'm gonna call Cosmically Narrated. Okay. And it's going to be monthly. So right now we're just going to pop into July, right? Okay. So if you don't know me, I'm Caitlainne. I've been talking to you for like 3 minutes and I don't know if I introduced myself, but you know what? You're going to hear this spiel over and over and over again. So it's fine. It's fine. I used to be an actor. I did it for a long time. I learned that embodying different stories and narrating and embodying other people's lives and, dissecting scripts and really wanting to know why do humans do the things that they do and what happens, in their minds and how do they react to things, right? All the things, right? Loved that. That's where that's where you go. You go to the stage, you go to acting, school, you want to become an actor so you can get paid to do that all the time. And I was really lucky that I kind of started working right out of school, which was great because I realized I had to learn how to audition. I had to get like so used to being new and trying new things and being in front of people, and I had to really work on that. I was not always I was not a my auditions. I have stories. Oh, I got stories, and sometimes you just have to be like, that sucked. You know what? It's over. Okay, moving on, right? And then sometimes when you think it really was bad, it was actually really good. So that world, that journey really teaches you so much about present moment, acceptance of the self. Mistakes are okay. Decision making is so important. Taking the time to be grounded in the work. Studying, reading, continually to educate yourself and, follow your interests and learn. Just continuing to be a student. So I've been doing that for a long time. And during all of that, so perspective starts to become like a thing where you're like, ooh, you're always in observer mode, the witness, so you start to like really see perspective shifts, within yourself. So I wanted to know how the camera worked behind it. So I I bought a camera after I assisted a lot of different photographers, including high fashion photographers, which is a totally different industry from like portrait wedding photographers. So I did a little bit of everything. And then I kind of found my niche and my clients, and I shot over like 200 sessions or something. I tried to like count all of them. And honestly, every time I got to 200, I was like, yeah, that's good. Because sometimes you just have moments of life, and you do a shoot like right then and there. And I was just one of those people who always had my camera with me. So that turned into got to stay grounded, meditation practice, became a Reiki master teacher. And then the pandemic happened, everything changed, and I decided to put all of this into becoming a certified coach. So I focus on the business, but I focus on the why, the story, the underbelly, right? Like, why are we doing the things? And if you're representing your business, you have to like, have values and a mission, and be able to articulate that in you know elevator pitch. You got to practice, you got to like constantly introduce yourself and like show up to you know podcast interviews and be asked questions. I'm like, oh my god, this is like just like acting, but like I'm playing the role of myself. Wow, interesting. So that kind of like sparked so many learnings in me that helped me open my mind and my heart to what else is there. I've always been very connected to nature and to animals. I would just be like, oh, they talk to me, okay? Like I can feel them, I can hear them, and I've always known that that's like a part of life growing up as a kid, and even now. But now I'm like, when I talk to other people, they're like, what? Like what? You just knew that? Like, I don't, you know, yeah. I mean, yes and no. I've had moments, right, of like, learning about energy and about being a part of this really mysterious planet. So I found myself having the same conversations or very similar conversations with people. Um, via coaching in my coaching calls, and I was like, wow, everybody, we're all a collective, right? We're all going through kind of the same. There's a big story, and then the our own story. So in the big story, um sometimes it's nice to know, like, hey, like, what do you see? What's your heads up, right? Or like, what are you experiencing, right? It just helps like shift perspectives, and I enjoy learning that from other people. So I found myself repeating a lot of the same things. So I was like, you know what, why don't I do this in like a monthly thing? I can kind of show you how I look at the month ahead energetically, and I use that in my life. I don't, if it's like, oh, I'm not going to do this because no, there's no superstition. You know what I mean? I'm like, ooh, it's a fiery season, right? It's going to be summer. It's Leo season. Like, I'm aware of the energy shifts. Different planets are in different places. What does that do? Last time, what was happening? I connect some dots, right? So I'm going to share some of my dots with you. And we're going to do this per month and do it as like simply as possible. So what's the theme for July? I figured, let's just get real, right? First week in July, things shift. We're already kind of shifting because right now the moon is in Aries. So it's already starting to get a little fiery. We're starting to get more energy. We're starting to get, either you're, feeling that love, or like, feeling good. The fire energy is starting to like, okay. We just came from like a lot of water energy, which is really soothing, but also like moves things, right? Can move anything. So communication goes into a Leo sign, which is a fire sign, but it's only for 3 weeks, because then we go Mercury in Virgo, which it's at home in at the end of the month, right? So between that time, the communication, Mercury's like, hey, I'm the closest to the sun. I got the message. Like I'm right here. I'm right here next to the sun. Okay. So I got the message and I'm going to be in a fire sign. What? And in Leo? Interesting, right? Speedy, speedy, quick, quick, fire. So what do we do with that, right? So we go into that next stage, the warm heart. We're really going to like, hopefully feel more receptive in that the compassion of, wow, everyone's got their own story going on and I got my own story going on. You know what? We're all we're all doing it, right? Good job. Sometimes you just got to get a, well done, well done. I'm doing the best that I can. And, let people be where they at. You know what I mean? Speak love into your life. Do your thing. Decide. So right now, Mars, we're going to talk a lot about Mars. Mars is in Taurus, right? So like right now, it's like slow and steady. Look ahead, get your heads up and decide what you're doing because Mars is going to move into Gemini. And once we get into that, it's going to get a little, well, Gemini, right? So the main focus is like heal yourself, right? We got 2 full moons in Capricorn. Like that's an opportunity, right? What do you really got to let go? And it cannot come with you to that next space and place, right? You got to close it up, you got to complete something, you got to be done with it. And it doesn't have to hurt, right? That energy also needs to go and knows it's got to go, right? So if there's some sort of like, let's let's heal, right? We're shifting into an earth element within this fire energy, and we don't want to like blow shit up. We don't want to like just cause a forest fire, right? We want to like fire is incredible, right? So we got to like stay with the philosophy of the fire, the creation, the mystery, the element that was literally gifted to us from the heavens, from God, or whatever story you believe in of like the creating light, and then how humans are like, and that first time that spark happens, cavemen being like, I'm just gonna bang things and whatever, and ooh, what was that? Electricity, like some sort of spark, right? So we are getting into, oh, yeah. Oh, chapter 1. Sorry, I just saw myself having a typo and I was like, oh man, I didn't change that. But we're already 12 minutes in. And you know what? I'm going to keep going, right? Because it doesn't have to be perfect. Ugh, it does not have to be perfect. And I think right now, that feeling is that's a relief, huh? You just be yourself. Just do it, right? Just do it all the way through. If you're, say, recording a thing, right? If you're never going to get to the end and you keep starting over, oh my God, exhausting. Like just do it to the end, see what happens, you just post it, right? You know what you're talking about. That would be my coaching to myself. So let's go into July. We got Leo energy galore. All right. But we got that new moon in Cancer in that same week. So the first week, we got like, okay, we got fire, right? We got it, but we also have water. So they're friends. They're like, yeah. I mean, they don't, like, don't put each other out and everything, because we got that Venus also entering Leo, right? So like cooling off, cool pool time, beach day. Oh, like what do you enjoy, right? July 11th. So we're just coming off of the 4th of July if you live in America, right? So it's like, yay, America, that might also cause some like fires, actually, now that I think about it, because we're in a really interesting time. It's really competitive right now. We got the Olympics going on, right? Okay, so competition, fire, Leo energy can be a little spicy, and then we got the presidential debate and all that, so fire, a little competition, a little like heat that is rising perhaps. And usually July is a pretty hot time, just in general with the summer season. So as you can see, July 2nd, July 5th, July 11th, July 20th. Okay. So this new moon, you see this new moon in Cancer is going, we are giving you a heads up because as soon as this Mars enters Gemini, chapter 2 is like, like what? And that is full moon in Capricorn, the sun enters Leo, Mercury enters Virgo, Chiron retrograde in Aries. So it's about like your decisions, right, are crucial. And I live in America, right? So we're really facing the get real, kind of what we were saying before, the get real kind of vibe of like, listen, the next few years, we need to make some good decisions. We need to take care of ourselves, and sometimes taking care of yourself is like doing something that you don't necessarily want to do, but you will do it, or you have to create and practice that willpower, right? Solar plexus power, but it's a choice, right? So main character energy, Leo, all about me, right? Individual, right? I got, and it doesn't have to be self-centered. It's not like Leo's like, I mean, unless it's imbalanced, right? Are there places or people or things that are imbalanced in your life that it's all about something like it's just overconsumed? It's like moderation, you know what I mean? Like maybe take a step back, right? Like, okay, like how can I be, what's going on here, right? Um, but that's the main character. The main character energy is not only are we going to be in Leo season, hello, we're also going to be Mercury and Venus in Leo. Mercury, communication, Venus, how we love, what we love, passion, right? That's Taurus and Libra's ruling planet. So the Tauruses and Libras in your life, like that's like the love, right? And so I just feel like that main character energy is going to just bring up a lot of um, feelings, heat, and so we get to cool off with this new moon nourishment moment in Cancer. Thank you very much, and we need to like actually use it. So when I was saying before, where it's like there's the listen, we're giving you the heads up, right? Okay, we're telling you that Mercury enters Leo, that new moon is in Cancer, that Venus enters Leo. You got this time to just ground, heal, be cool, calm. Because that Mars entering Gemini and all this just, it's like things just happen quickly. So it brings us to Mars and Gemini. Is it going to be the villain or the hero? We shall find out, right? But we're gonna play a little game, right? Because I was like, okay, Mars. I don't usually spend a lot of time with Mars energy, and my Mars is in Aries, so it's actually very at home in this. And I was discovering that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm having a moment with Mars. Like we get along really well. Look at that. Um, I'm down for this, right? So now we're talking with the Mars in Gemini energy, right? So we got all these, and you don't have to believe in the like Gemini means this and the back, like there's a reason why certain energies just sense into, right? Like you're sensing into that feeling, and if you're aware of, you know, the shadow of certain energies, that doesn't mean to be scared, right? That means I can say no because I'm good, right? Or, when something comes to you that's aligned and it's an opportunity and you see it, right? The universe is like, okay, you want more of this? They send, oh, some of this, how does this look? You want this? And then you have to be like, I have to receive that to say the yes, right? So it doesn't all mean like Gemini two-faced and, we're not going in the drama of the Leo energy, right? So we got the drama, the fact checker, but like not quite, just wants to be right. Take a step back. You know what I'm saying? So I have an idea. Okay. We're going to play a little memory game. It's going to be called Spark Your Memory. Because as I was hanging out with Mars, I was like, okay, Mars, I'm looking at my notes. I was like, okay, Mars, what's going on? Right? So with this Venus and Mercury Leo energy, right? We talked about how Mercury is the planet that's closest to the sun. Leo is the sun card in the tarot, right? So light, 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 a lot of light. Put your sunglasses on, protection. Those of you who work in, elements, just watch your candles, like, use some incense, right? Um, put things out that need to get out, you know? Uh, be in that water, really in that water element, cleanse, right? And also like don't burn it to the ground. If once it's gone, right? So you also have to be aware of that, right? So it could get deep, life just like is life, right? So the new moon, right? So the new moon in Cancer is giving us an opportunity to put out those old fires to light new ones consciously, right? So I'm like here for it. But then I was like, okay, so I'm here for that Cancer energy. Super like it's like super mom, right? It's also like hostess with the mostest. It's also the mother witch, head witch, right? Like cancers can just feel you miles away in your emotional intelligence. You know what I mean? Like it's it is you just I don't know, it's just like a vibe. I've got my moon in Cancer. So sometimes I'm just like I'm sensing something. The unspoken things, but they're still there, right? We got this emotional body, so if you're able to read energy, you kind of just like see it or experience it and you're like, okay, like you may not be saying it with your words, but you're definitely saying it with your energy, and you're almost saying it like I can't like read that, or like I wouldn't like respond to that, but that's interesting that you do that. So Mars is the god of war, right? Mars is, if you want to go into like Mars, men, Venus, women, masculine energy, like feminine energy, it is the masculine energy. It's the decision maker. It's like, yo, we got to do this thing. We got to go where we got to go, right? Warrior. Like what's the battle? What do we got to do? We got to win. This is the thing. So when I looked at last time Mars was in Gemini, I was like, August to February of 2022. Okay, what happened? Right. So then I went on like onthisday.com and I started looking through this time. I was like, okay, if I see what was the energy like, right? Mars, Mars, the physicalness, like the physical nature of the world, like what was going on? How were people deciding to do things? What was happening? And like Mars energy is also a lot of completion, ending, negotiation, and it's like so this kind of this sparked my memories of like the vibe 2 years ago, because sometimes I'm like, y'all, it's 2024. That's crazy. That's I have my moments where I'm like, I think I almost just wrote 2023. I think I almost just did. Oh my goodness. We are 6 months into 2024. What is that saying? Right? A feeling of like, oh gosh, yeah, time is just kind of happening, right? So how do we stay present and not feel too far behind or too far ahead? We come to this present moment. So the last time, so this is August, Beyonce came out with You Won't Break My Soul, the FBI search, okay, at Mar-a-Lago. Olivia Newton-John died. Queen Elizabeth II died. Alex Jones had to pay like $965 million to Sandy Hook families for falsely and repeatedly claiming misinformation. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever premieres. Elon Musk takes full ownership and control of Twitter. That happened then. Giselle and Tom divorce drama. Okay. Angela Lansbury died. We got another Avatar. Another Avatar came out. Celine Dion reveals her diagnosis. Nudge, nudge. What just came out, but her documentary. Harry and Meghan, they got their documentary. We said goodbye to The Daily Show. And this was interesting. Same-sex marriage becomes law. So the Respect for Marriage Act is signed in. Barbara Walters died that year. Prince Harry then debuted Spare, right? So do you see how it's just things just kept happening? It's and that made news and that made news and that made news. And all of a sudden when you get a lot of news, you're like, wait, shit, there's been a lot of news where, whoa, okay, I'm gonna just listen, okay? It was another LeBron James passes 38,000 points. So we got some sports moments. Best record went to Lizzo, About Damn Time. Rihanna performed at the Super Bowl. Okay. And then Harvey Weinstein was sentenced. So that all happened at that time. So now, fast forward, we're now in 2024, right? Mars is about to go into Gemini. All right. And the next time, I was like, well, when's the next time? Oh, well, of course, yeah. What do you remember? Yeah, let's take a moment. Let's take a moment. Because I don't know, when I was reading through some of those things, I was like, first of all, I was like, oh my God, that was 2 years ago. And I was like, oh my gosh, so much has happened since then. Oh my gosh, what is life now? Wow. Oh, all right. So I did some journaling, as one would call it, a little self-reflection of okay, what sparked my memory? What do I remember about that time? Or what was I really focused on at that time? And did I get there by this time? Right? What was my goal then? Where am I now? That's a good 2 years. Did what changed? Did anything change? Did you go through the changes that you were hoping for? Did you integrate the things, or do you find some stories are repeating, or you're seeing, different aspects of what's standing out to you, right? So these might be some good journaling moments, maybe for the new moon in new moon in Cancer, which is coming up the first week. So I was like, okay, so when is the next time Mars is going to be in Gemini? Because it's okay, if you can plant the seed now, what's going to happen in 2 years? What's going to happen around this time, right? June and July of 2026. Actually, okay, it's June 29th. I'm actually doing this I got the idea, and I was like, I got the idea. You know what? I'm going to commit to one video a month. I can do that. I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to build community. I'm going to give my updates and forecasts. I'm going to do it properly and just get it out there, but try to make it as clear as possible and get out there, right? Sometimes when you are behind a desk, or you are supporting a lot of other people in their business, you're in coach mode, you know what I mean? So it's a lot of coaching other people all the time, and then seeing where are you at, what do you need, what's going on with you, are you at the place that you also want to be? What are your goals? Did we surpass those? Did they change, right? How much did you change from how much do you want to change, right? So then I was like, okay, we have an opportunity, y'all, to really plant a seed, at this time. So then in 2 years, I'm giving bird's eye view, right? I'm giving high level, let's go there, Mars energy in 2 years, 2026, this time, 2 years, where you want to be, right? And also all this stuff coming up, right? With if you live in America, you're really starting to see anything can happen. And you're like, oh my God, this is going to be a really, oh God, just, how do you cool off, right? don't get all twisted up in the stress. Like when you feel that, take a step back, right? We don't know what's going to happen, but we do know what is happening, present moment. Stay clear and present, have the conversations, right? Stay within yourself, because basically I was like, because if people don't get real, right? If we don't really come together as a country, as America, like we're gonna find out in 2 years what is it gonna be like? What changes from now, right? We are in an election year, so we can't ignore that and bypass it and be like, oh, and then like November shows up and we'll just like find out. No, it is almost July. We're going to do something with all this energy. We're going to take care of ourselves, uh, amidst all this energy, right? Amidst, admit, whatever. You get what I'm saying, right? Mars and Aries. I mean, like you know what I mean, okay? Because just don't like we fuck around, we find out. That's basically the message. So I was like, oh, so in 2 years, what do you want? And even if you don't know what it is, it's like, well, where you want to be, what are you working on right now, right? That in 2 years, that would be, you know what, that would be good, and cool. Do whatever goal you want to do. Have the like lavish goal, where you're like, this is the ideal, and I'm going to be, in this, basking in luxury and a penthouse, bathtub that overlooks the city, have the lavish, like, yes, just, yes, making money in my sleep, do it, right? And then have the practical goal, right? And then we're going to get practical. That Mercury and Virgo at the end of the month. Okay, so we got all of July to figure it out, feel ourselves. Ooh, individual, what do you want? All the things, do you, do you, do you. And then we got Mercury going into Virgo, in Virgo season, right? So Virgo. Now it's like money where your mouth is. Like now it's be real, right? Now it's, well, do it, right? What's in the way? Are you being stubborn? Are you being resistant? Do you have, you need to practice like just getting out there, right? Just like, feeling stagnant. Those things, normal, right? But we're going to take care of those places. We're going to nourish ourselves. We're going to heal. So then we get lighter and lighter. It feels good in here. We're making really good decisions. We're communicating. We're taking a step back when we need to. We're taking a step forward when we need to, right? So that's why I was like, Leo energy be in the main character, and also with anything in moderation, right? Because we will come up against that Mars and Gemini that's going to take it's kind of like, it's like, you give your wishes, and it's like, and I wish for this, and people are like, okay, I'm gonna, once you put it out there, like, you just kind of, this is, you want this, are you sure, right? And it's like being confident, having like faith in ourselves of like, yes, I want this feeling, this accomplishment. What is the thing you are working towards? And if it's not like something like tangible, physical, like I want to buy a car, I want to do whatever, it has to come from a deeper place, right? We got that new moon in Cancer being like, go deeper. What do you really want? Do you want love? Mm-hmm. You want love. You want love, honey. That Venus in Leo energy. It's okay. Like, want it, right? Who doesn't want love? Who doesn't want love? So we're planting that seed, and we are following what satisfies us, what nourishes us, what feels so beautiful to us. What do we enjoy? What is pleasure, right? Like nature. Like like the simple joys of life. Oh, like the, oh, that, right? And that is preparation in itself, right? That is us preparing well for ourselves. That is us healing, that is us preparing for whatever happens, right? Because you can only take care of yourself. You can only, control yourself. But it really is about that, right? Are you doing the work? Are you really doing it, right? Are you saying you're doing it really well, or are you really doing that work to make that action, to will it into your life, to grow it and to deliver it, to grow it and to cultivate it and to watch it grow into legacy, right? So yeah. So it was like, this is like, I don't know, we're just going to find out each month what planet really wants to take the wheel, okay? And Mars in Gemini is like, I need to talk 2-year plan, right? 2-year plan. I was like, oh my God. Okay. And I'm an Aquarius, right? So, thinking ahead and, all the stuff that comes naturally to me. And I'm like, the 2 years? Okay. 2 years, right? So hopefully some of those things sparked your memory as to like what it felt like for 2 years to be 2 years ago, and then how much has happened or how much work you've done, and like celebrate yourself, like the things that you've done that have gone really well, and then what are the things that are like, oh yeah, and I keep coming up against this thing, or like whatever. Be kind to yourself, of course, but reflect, do that thing, right? Like actually have those moments, create the space, right? That's the only way we are going to like move forward and heal. You know what I'm saying? Drink that water. Sometimes you just got to be quiet. Yes. So that means it's done, right? That was my, okay. Yep. You are worth it. 2026 is really not that far away, but in 2 years, I'm like, oh, in 2 years, is my voice going to change? Maybe. Who knows? Right? Because I don't know. Whatever just happened, I just became a base. I'm going with it. So I'm going to be doing these every month. And thank you so much for staying with me. So basically, what I am doing is building my funnels of communication, right? How do you really stay in touch with people who are also doing similar work, who need those updates, right? So you can find it on always on my YouTube channel. So all these are going to be uploaded on YouTube, and they'll all have, so like on the description, they'll all have a little landing page of their own, right? And I'm just going to like start accumulating like a vault basically of like documenting what is happening. And I am declaring that that's my 2-year plan, right? I I'm like, wow, doing one video a month for 2 years, then what happens? All right, sweet. I'm gonna be doing it. So, of course, you can book a call with me if any of this is interesting to you and you're like either trying to really bring some more confidence into your life, more clarity, more of like representing your true self, or like representing your business, right? Like, being an entrepreneur and being a business person, you have to wear many hats. And sometimes you're like, which hat do I wear when I go out in public? I have all the other hats, but like, where's my public persona hat? Like, what's the personality of the representation of like my brand, right? That feels real to me, and I'm still bringing all my values and, myself to it. I'll help you. I'll help you. I'll be your coach. You just call me up. So book a call. And then of course subscribe, because that's, if and you know. And then I have a little buy me a butterfly. That's a little buy me a coffee. So if you want to donate and support me on this journey, I would really appreciate it, because, sometimes you just got to know who the true fans are out there, and yeah, and find out. So all these things will be on the bottom, and you can like look through things, and you have all the things. But this was great. How long was this? 40 minutes? That was pretty good. Okay. All right. That's the longest it's ever going to be, though, because I feel like this was the first time. So thank you. Thank you for